Opportunity from a water perspective, a water midstream perspective, is broadly what we call a convergence of water and midstream. Historically, water was an oil service business, a month-to-month type contracted business. And ultimately what we've done is we recognized early the convergence between that business model and what's a true midstream long-term infrastructure model. So the opportunity for us is to take that oil service business, create long-term solutions for our customers, and then provide what ultimately will be a gathering, transport, recycle, and reuse capability for all the producers in our core basins.
Meaning that if I'm a producer and I'm not using water, I can put it, in essence, on a grid, and then if I need it, I can take it off and then use that water, and then you recycle it and help transport it. Is that, in essence, what you're saying?
Exactly. So if you think about where the business was, historically it was a business of spot gathering to spot disposal. Mm-hmm. And ultimately what we saw early in 2012 was the opportunity in densely drilled basins to create a ubiquitous network where throughout the whole network of a densely drilled basin, you'd be able to gather, transport, and manage that water in a way that producers who produce the water would be able to put the water on the network, and producers who needed the water would be able to take it off the network.
So do you have any of that in operation right now, or where are you in helping to try and realize that?
We do. We're very active in the Permian, mm-hmm. in the Arkoma Basin, and the Eagle Ford. Specifically in the Permian, the southern Permian, the Texas part of the Delaware Basin, mm-hmm. we're the largest gatherer and transporter and manager of water in the whole basin. Today we have over 500,000 acres dedicated to our network that spans throughout the whole basin.
I mean, that's a capital intensive business too. So what's the return profile like, and sort of how long does it take to get there?
Returns are attractive. In fact, if you look at the return on investment, effectively part of the reason why we're so successful doing this is it provides a phenomenal service for producers. It takes them from needing to pay trucks, which can be anywhere from $2 to $3 a barrel, mm-hmm. to being able to deliver into a phenomenally redundant and reliable network at approximately 30 to 40% of that. So 65 cents a barrel.
So how much do you make off of that?
So the EBITDA margins are approximately 50 cents a barrel, mm-hmm. off of 65 cents of revenue. But more importantly, that's a return to the capital that's deployed to build out the network.
Mm-hmm. So at what point then do you not have that cash burn? Like, how long does it take to sort of build out that kind of project?
Well, effectively, the beauty of the water infrastructure network is you can build in small pieces. Mm-hmm. Due to the adding capacity is not a long infrastructure, long dated capacity build out. So effectively, to the extent that we hit a capacity, for instance, on a network, we can add new infrastructure $8 to $10 million per pop, rather than needing to go out and build for a 1 year period, for instance, in $100 million increments or something.
So part of what's so exciting about this is the continued Permian production, for example, and just needing to take away all of that oil and gas. What happens if production isn't what we think it's going to be? Does this reduce the need for something like your business?
Well, production will increase and decrease over time. The energy sectors are by definition volatile. So we will go through periods where drilling will accelerate and decelerate depending on where oil and gas prices are. But the reality is that we need the Permian and we need these core shale basins to meet long-term demand. And as a result, as long as you need oil and gas to meet long-term demand, you'll need a water management business to manage the water that comes out of the well as well.
So then where are you going to move now? So you mentioned you are in the Permian, you're in the Delaware. Are you working in the Midland? Or where else are you going to expand, and when is the time frame for you for that?
Sure. As we speak, we're working hard on a strategy to build out a network similar to what we've done in the Texas-based Delaware and the northern Delaware in New Mexico. Other markets for us are the Midland and the Niobrara in the Rockies.
And when you talk to investors, what kind of interest do you have now from investors, say, that a few years ago? And I'm trying to get at all the private equity money in the space that all wants to go invest in infrastructure. What does that do for you?
Well, it's a great question. Going back 5-7 years ago when we started our firm, one of our core themes was the convergence of water and midstream. And the idea there was we saw something that we feel like others didn't. And over the last 5 years, people have become more interested in it, but it's not until very recently that water is starting to gain the attention that we believe it needs. So effectively, as recently as 2 years ago when we formed WaterBridge, for instance, we built a business when others weren't attracted to the industry. We built a business that is now the biggest business in all of North America.
All right, David, really great to get that perspective. Love the beaten path take. David Capobianco of 5 Point Energy, thanks a lot. And coming up, Italy gets a lifeline with an extra week to get its act together, or risk EU